this case study, we aim to alter the current teaching strategy of a higher education class by applying a psychological principle as a more effective alternative. How is the current class being taught?
A standard higher education class consists of a large group of students attending 2 two-hour lectures a week. Lectures take place in a large hall with students facing the lecturer at the front of the room. The lecturer presents to the students, often using PowerPoint for the full 2 hours. Lecturers are instructed to keep PowerPoint slides simple with little text or use of images or colour.
What do you think makes this an ineffective teaching strategy?
This teaching method can often lead to disengagement in lectures due to a lack of stimulation, with many students losing interest and becoming inattentive and distracted. This results in much of the presented information being lost on the audience and therefore not being stored in memory. There is often little motivation to learn, and students take on a passive role in this teaching format. It is also difficult for the lecturers to assess students' understanding of the material due to little interaction between the two parties. This lack of communication results in an inability to develop a good rapport with students, something that could potentially enhance learning.
What alternative teaching strategy do you suggest?
I suggest applying accelerated learning. This is a theory of teaching proposed by George Lozanov. This method is designed to ensure students learn faster and more effectively. It looks at the individual as a whole and breaks teaching down into various elements. These elements include the physical environment, a positive atmosphere, and the teaching frame. This theory states that learning can be done both consciously and unconsciously. It also states that the teacher is a crucial factor in successful learning.
Why would this method be more effective?
Research evidence suggests the effectiveness of the accelerated learning method. For example, Cooper Erland, 1999, found that this teaching method can act as an aid between acquiring knowledge and ensuring this knowledge is maintained over time. This study also demonstrated that introducing accelerated learning could assist with memory and cognition in other, later aspects of life outside of academia. Further to this, Felix 2006 found that accelerative learning positively influenced attitude and achievement in schools. Children were found to be much more attentive and responsive to a communicative form of teaching. This study also demonstrated that the effects of accelerated learning can be clearly shown in test results, with 87% of the experimental group passing, compared with 65% of the control group. This empirical evidence clearly shows the accelerated learning method to be effective.
How would you apply this strategy?
Accelerated learning can be applied to higher education classes using the quantum learning design frame, DePorter 2001. This model provides a framework of how to structure a class using the principles of accelerated learning. The quantum learning frame states that there are 6 important features that teachers need to include in each lesson plan. These are enroll, experience, label, demonstrate, review, and celebrate. Enrolling involves capturing the student's attention with an intriguing opening statement. This should aim to give an idea of what to expect in the lecture without revealing too much information. This helps to create a rapport between the lecturer and the students, as well as provoking a desire to learn. Providing students with an experience that demonstrates the lesson can evoke curiosity in the students and cause them to engage with the lecturer. It also enables students to relate to the lecture content and make connections between new information and prior knowledge, adding relevance to lecture content. Labelling suggests that by presenting important data and discussing its relevance directly after an experience, lecturers can engage students and take advantage of their need to define new learning. As students often have more questions after the experience or activity, this is the perfect opportunity to debrief what was learned. By supplying students with activities to demonstrate new concepts, lecturers can offer students opportunities to apply their new knowledge to different situations. This helps build confidence. By reviewing information, lecturers can cement new information in the student's memory. Reviewing strengthens neural connections, aiding memory retention. Finally, at the end of each lecture, lecturers should celebrate their student success. This is said to bring closure to the lecture by appreciating the effort that students have put into learning. Using the quantum learning teaching frame guarantees that each lecture is taught on many different levels, from initially intriguing students and inducing curiosity, to then defining and applying newly learned knowledge. An opportunity to reflect and enjoy a sense of satisfaction concludes the frame.
What would these changes do to the learning environment?
These changes would tackle the previously mentioned problems with the traditional lecture setup. Students will become more attentive and engaged with the presented material. This is achieved by using the enrolling and experience features. Students would now take on a much more active role in lectures. This new teaching strategy would also induce a stronger motivation to learn. Using the labelling feature means that lecturers would now have the opportunity to communicate with students, allowing students to discuss any difficulties with the material. Finally, this would also allow lecturers to assess students' understanding more effectively by utilising the debrief feature. Introducing an opportunity to celebrate the now understood material not only assists in retention, but also increases self-esteem of students, which in turn further contributes to motivation. This demonstrates the positive circular nature of the frame.